Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Jessie, and welcome back to another episode of Rewire to Inspire. The show where we'll dive into self-love, learn tangible ways to rewire the brain, and discovering your soul's purpose. The goal of Rewire to Inspire is to encourage listeners to begin doing the hard work, to get curious and open to maximizing your life. Our mindset shapes how we live. Depending on life events, traumas, and personal experiences, our mindsets are all vastly different. However, one thing we all have in common is the ability to rewire our mind, to change the narrative, and to pivot our lives. I hope you leave each episode with the belief that you are so worthy to live a life true to you. I look forward to chatting with you every single Tuesday and Thursday and helping you grow exponentially in all areas of your life. Without further ado, here's today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am really excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all. I just sat here in between recordings when I was waiting for my last video to finish uploading so I could export it, because if I don't, I lose the file. It's this whole thing. And I was sitting here like, I'm so hungry, and I cannot wait to cook dinner after this. And fun fact about me, my favorite food in the whole wide world is Indian food and curry, all those things. And so after this, I am definitely going to make curry. And I was sitting here like, oh my gosh, Jessie, just get through this episode so that you can go make your dinner. And I'm like, okay, thinking brain, back online. You got to show up, you got to be present. But you guys, I'm in a very giggly, happy, excited mood. It is a beautiful Friday night. I just got back from a lovely walk with my dog. We went around the village that I live in. It was just really beautiful. It was one of those weird walks or just times outside when it was raining, but it was sunny and I could see the rain falling, but the sky was super bright and beautiful. And I just think that that's super cool. And I thought that it was fun. So anyways, you guys, I am super excited to be jumping on here with you all for episode number 154. If you missed Tuesday's episode 153, I talked all about 5 different lessons that I have learned thus far in my life. If you have not heard that episode, I definitely encourage you to check it out after today's episode. For today, we're going to be talking about one thing, and that is, do not make this common mistake. What is the common mistake, you might ask? So, whenever I'm stuck for what I want to talk about, I go for a walk, or I get a shower, or I get a bath. One of those 3 things usually helps me rein in, oh my god, no pun intended, creativity. It allows me to just eliminate distractions and hone in on what I want to share with you guys, what I've been learning. And this was the one thing that kept coming up for me, because I see this all the time, and I've seen this all the time with my clients, and I see this all the time in society. And here's the mistake. We need to stop leaving our life to chance and just winging it every single day. Now, stick with me. I have lived on both sides of this. So I know what it's like to just wake up every single day and wing it, and to just go with the flow. But as I was sitting here reflecting, and I kind of wrote down 5 benefits of having goals, and now that I'm someone who is very goal-oriented and I track my habits every day, I'm like, I can't imagine not having goals anymore. And I've shared this stat before, and it's alarming, but 80% of people do not set goals. 80% of our population is just winging it. And I couldn't help but think, from a trauma-informed perspective, what winging it does to our nervous system, to our circadian rhythm, to our quality of life. I'm like, this is what we need to talk about. So, don't make this common mistake, aka, my love, stop winging life. Get some direction, set some direction. I promise you, you will thank yourself for it. To really illustrate this, like I said, I wrote down some benefits of having goals, because here's the thing. We're not going to do something if we don't see the value in doing it. Why would we? If we don't think something's going to be worth it, we don't believe it's possible, we don't know why we would do it, we're not going to. Because why would you invest the time and energy into something if you don't think it's going to be worth it? So that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. So let's dive into these 5 benefits and see what comes up. The first benefit of having goals, I love this one. You'll feel more of a sense of control in your life and a sense of purpose in life. I remember when I didn't have goals and I felt lost. I felt like there was more, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that looked like. And I was just tired of going with the flow. And I knew I needed direction in my life. And again, we all have a different relationship with goals and with having direction and all those things. So if this doesn't align with you, also know that that is okay, but it might not align with you just because you've never experienced it. Just because you've never experienced having goals and having that direction doesn't mean that it's not optimal for your life. But when we have clear goals, you have more of a sense of control of your life. Because when you have goals, and again, you get to define how quote unquote big or small you want these goals to be. I set massive 10-year goals and I work my way backwards. Some of us, it's just setting monthly goals. Maybe you set quarterly goals, yearly goals, whatever. But it allows you to have a sense of control in your life. And one of the biggest things that we feel, especially those of us that have undergone massive traumas, is we don't feel a sense of control in our life. We feel like our body and our mind is taken over. We have no control. We have no say. We have no worth. And so when we have goals and we have something that we get to choose and we get to have control of, it feels really, really good. And it's really empowering. And nobody can take that away from you. That was one of my favorite things about setting goals is I'm the only one that gets to dictate what these are and how I show up to get them. And it was through that I began to build my sense of purpose in life. For me, again, this is written from your own narrative of what that's going to look like. Your goals should not look like my goals. And they should not look like your friends' goals. They need to come from you individualized. But that is one of the biggest benefits that I would see when I used to work with clients that were affected by domestic violence or sexual assault. Once we had gone through the process of the psychoeducation, which means explaining how trauma affects the brain and the body, hearing their story, kind of doing more of that deeper emotional work together, we would set goals. Because goals allow you to have direction. They give you something to look forward to. They give you aspiration. They give you a reason to get up in the morning. When we just wing life, again, that also just throws off our body, which is number 3 that I wrote down, and I'll just touch on now instead. But it's very helpful for your nervous system and for your circadian rhythm when your body can anticipate in advance what to look forward to. Especially the nervous system one. If you've undergone trauma, having clear, defined things that you can look forward to every single day, you can measure, I'm going to say the word control a lot because you deserve to have that sense of control in your life. When our body gets to presuppose in advance what is going to happen, it's less anxious, it's less overwhelmed. But when we're kind of just going through the motions of the day and your body can't presuppose in advance what that's going to look like, it's often in that sympathetic state most of the time. It's in that overwhelmed, overdrive state, which of course it is. If your body doesn't know what to anticipate, it's going to be on alert. That is its job. But when we can even have these, I'm not even going to say goals right now, I'm going to say routines for ourselves. Our body loves that. It craves that. In fact, goals even in themselves have been proven to be very, very good on a neuroscience perspective for our body and for our system. And I definitely want to do an episode soon where I go more in depth on kind of the physiology and the neuroscience behind goals and how beneficial they are for all of us. Because I know that my saving grace from a couple years ago till now was setting goals for myself. I was so freaking lost, you guys, in life that the only thing that gave me a sense of direction and hope was to set things up for myself that I wanted to achieve and to work towards them every single day. Even if I didn't believe it was possible, even if I didn't think I was worthy of them, it gave me something to look forward to and to hold on to. And I could never fully articulate to you guys how much I'm so thankful that I did that. So that is number 1, and number 3 kind of mushed together is having goals allows you to have more control of your life, that sense of purpose, and your body, your nervous system, your different rhythms and beings of your system will thank you so much more for having some guidance and something to look forward to than to just wing it every single day. Okay, number 2, you will maximize the odds of getting results that you aspire for in life because you're thinking in advance. Here's the thing. Things are created twice, right? We've heard that quote before. First in the mind and then in the real world, in the physical world. And when we set goals for ourselves, we're able to kind of think in advance of where we want to go. Whereas if we're just going with the flow, going with the whim, manifesting but not putting in the work, we're kind of leaving it up to chance. And so you're that much more likely to be successful, again, your definition of success, when you create some kind of direction for yourself. This is one of the lessons that I talked about on Tuesday's episode that I've learned, and that's you can't expect to have results with putting in the work, with putting in the action. If you're just hoping and leaving it to chance and winging life, you are going to be much more disappointed than if you set clear intentions and created the roadmap to get to where you want to go. And I know that a large reason why we don't set goals is because we don't think we're worthy or capable of it. But I would encourage you to instead switch that dialogue to what could happen if? What if I just decided to set a goal that I'm kind of curious about and just see what happens if I show up every single day? And lean into that. We really have 2 choices. We can lean into trying and failing and learning from it and adapting and shifting and growing, or we can not try and get the same results given to us over and over and over again. Okay, number 4. Setting goals is really, really motivating, and it helps you in tough times and gives you motivation to strive for. Even in the last couple of weeks, I was struggling big time, and I think that I've kind of, figured out the reasons for that, and I'm doing all the things to heal, and I got a therapist, and I'm doing the inner work, and I've been doing energy healing, and life's just been great, and it's been going in a good direction. But for a while there, it was just a little rocky. And you know what's interesting? Is I lost sight of my goals. I didn't have direction. I was waking up feeling like I was winging it. And I'm someone who hates that feeling. Again, we all have a different relationship with this. I love having goals. I need direction. When I do not know what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, it bothers me to my core. I like a system. I like things to be predictable to an extent. And I'm like, no wonder I'm not feeling motivated. What is there to be motivated about? But when we set goals for ourselves and we start to see progress, it's motivating as hell. Think of a time that you've ever set a goal for yourself. Anything, even if it was just getting through high school exams. I'm talking anything in life. It motivates you to show up differently, to study harder, to practice harder. Having goals in something you're striving for, in and of itself, is motivating. Motivation and then showing up, guess what that does? It releases them feel-good hormones. It builds our self-confidence. It builds our self-worth. I know that we avoid goals because we think it's easier. What if setting goals and working towards them is actually a better feeling than not? Again, it all starts with just trying. If you've had a bad relationship or you've never exposed yourself to setting goals before, be gentle with yourself. That's okay. We have to start somewhere. But I hope that you know how motivating it is to have goals and how much it can inspire you in those rougher phases of your life when you're going through hard times to keep going and to keep showing up. Having that true north that you can look to when life seems daunting, when life seems rough. My podcast, I have not missed uploading 2 episodes a week in over a year. That motivates me, especially on the days where I don't want to show up here. I know that I refuse to miss. That is motivating to me. Once you start to show up and have enough repetitions, motivation becomes a byproduct of that. But you need to start with, sorry if that was loud, I hit my microphone, by setting those goals for yourself and intentionalities in advance. Okay, last but not least, setting goals sets you apart from, again, that statistic I shared, 80% of people. Furthermore than that, it helps you build grit, build discipline, it works your brain. When we start to use our brain in different ways, it's no different than the muscles in our body. It starts to become stronger, it starts to think more critically. We're building those muscles in our brain. We're rewiring those neural pathways. We're strengthening those neural pathways and that communication between the different hemispheres of our brain. And if we've never experienced something before, I know that it can feel really hard and challenging in the beginning, but I want you to know that by having goals, you are working those parts of your brain and you are setting yourself apart from 80% of people. How motivating and feel good is that to even just say, if I set goals, I'm kind of ahead of 80% of people. And I don't say that to sound narcissistic or to sound rude or to sound arrogant. I say it because it's motivating. You should want to be the 1%. You should want to be the minority in this case. You should want to be the one that's showing up, that's doing the work, that's being consistent, that's setting goals, that's crushing them, that's showing up for themselves. You should want to be that person. I wrote this one down because I'm like, what is the one thing that could be encouraging? Knowing how rare that makes you. Knowing how amazing that makes you. But also knowing how much you should thank yourself. If you are someone who already sets goals and this is something you already embody, I want you to know how rare that is and how much you should thank yourself and validate for yourself that you are choosing the harder path. You are choosing the road less traveled. And that is something to be celebrated. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. This is one that I'm pretty passionate about. We went all over the place a little bit. I really just wanted to hone in on, don't leave your life to chance. Don't just wing it. You are capable of so much more than you could ever imagine, but we have to set direction for ourselves in order to show our brain evidence that that is true. When we just wing it, I know that it's safe, I know that it's comfortable, I know that that's in your comfort zone, but I also know that once you peek outside of that and you start to show yourself that you're capable of more, you will begin to thank yourself and you will feel good for it. And so I've experienced this and I want each and every one of you to experience it because it truly is genuinely one of the best decisions that I ever made was beginning to set goals and to set daily habits and to track my habits. And so I just hope to radiate a little bit of that and a little bit of hope onto you guys that it is worth it. It is so worth it and you are so deserving of that. So thank you guys so much as always for tuning into this week's episodes of Rewire to Inspire. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the world to me if you guys could rate this show, share it with someone that you think would enjoy. I am on a global mission to really change our perception of trauma, of mental health, of personal growth. And so if you guys can help me get there, that would mean the absolute world. So all the love from my heart to your guys's, and I look forward to chatting with you all next week. Bye, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of Rewire to Inspire. I absolutely love connecting with you all, so make sure you're following me on Instagram. I am at JessieBrown13. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to leave a review or share with someone you think would enjoy. I look forward to chatting with you all next episode. And remember, get out of your head and into your heart.